Good morning, class. Welcome to St. Peter School. This is our science class, and this in previous class we already have covered we almost have covered the chapter that is first chapter, that is adaptation in animals and plants. We already studied this. Now today we are going to start with the very last topic of this chapter, that is binomial nomenclature by Carl Linnaeus. So I would request again all the students, please take out your books so that you can understand what we are actually discussing, that what is binomial nomenclature by Carlins. We take out page number 8. Okay. Now see what is binomial nomenclature. Binomial nomenclature is, okay, Carl Linnaeus. Who is Carl Linnaeus? Carl Linnaeus was a great scientist, biological scientist, father of the taxonomy, developed the binomial system of nomenclature. So Carl Linnaeus was also known as the father of taxonomy. Okay, what is taxonomy? Structure of the plant we studied is known as taxonomy. Okay, so the father of the taxonomy developed the binomial system of nomenclature. Okay, so now first point is written here, which is the current scientific system of naming the species. Okay, so what we are understanding that that Carl is still the Carl Linnaeus has given which the system for the binomial system for the nomenclature is still active. Still we are using to give the name to the species by this um, by the formula given by the Carl Linnaeus to name any specific species, that is called binomial system of nomenclature. He described about 5,900 species of plants in species Plantarum and 4,200 species of animals in Systema Naturae. Okay, so this is the this he has given the like a particular name to the classification or the process of giving the name to the particular species. That is, if we are giving the name of a species of any plant, so that particular book is known as a species plantrum, while when where we are deriving the species of animals, the particular subject will be known as the system of naturae. Okay, why is this is known as system in nature? Because just plant is a very like you can say independent in nature, while animals are dependent upon the nature, so it is considered as a system in nature. Now, third point is every organism has given uniform name throughout the world. We all know that all the living organisms still have all the living organisms are having their name, and following this pattern, the all the human beings are also following the same pattern. All the human beings are having specified names, specified background, specified you can say like जिसकी अलग सबकी अलग अलग कुंडली होती है. They are using like special caste. So we human beings are also following the same thing which the Carl Linnaeus has done to the plants and the animals. So every organism has given uniform name throughout the world. This is called scientific name. Okay, and the name, that particular name given to the plants or the animals, that is called scientific name. Okay, scientific name consists of two parts. One is genus and what is second is species. Always remember, when we come to know about the genus of the particular species, genus of the particular plant, and we come to know about the species of the particular plant, then we can write easily the scientific name of that plant. Okay, as per the International Code of Nomenclature, every organism has a binomial name. Okay, as per International Code of Nomenclature, every organism has binomial name. Only organism belonging to the same species can produce an offspring. All the organisms belonging to the same species may have differences in color, height, habitats, and habits, but still they can reproduce among themselves and form the offsprings like themselves. Okay, what exactly it's trying to say, that might be there are different type of organism which which are from the same species, but what happens by later on, there are different types of adaptation or different types of the experiment like grafting or something. What happens, the color or the height, the habitat or the habits of that particular organism changes, but still the office on the still the new product which comes out of those changing plant still are having the same species. Okay, so, come to the book. Have a quick read in the book's point also. Imagine that there are four students with a name Kabir, Kiran in a classroom. Okay, Both are having the name with starting the letter K. If you are talking about any one of them, how do you ensure that others know which one of them you are talking about? Without any confusion, we would tell full name, that is the first name and the last name. This is similar to the binomial nomenclature. Yes, because might be like there are two students having the same name, but the side name is changed. So in that case also we can easily classify that particular who is Kiran Sharma and who is Kiran Das. So Sharma is different from Kiran Sharma is different from Kiran Das. So in the same way it happens with the plants or the animal scientific name. Might be their species are same but their genus are different. So we can easily consider that from where this particular species belongs to, which species belongs to, which genus they belongs to. Okay, now we would tell the full name, that is the first. Okay, so this is similar to binomial nomenclature. This is the similar as I already told you that in the same way we human beings are also following the same pattern by which the Carl Linnaeus has given the particular name to the every organism. We are also following the same pattern, and from where we are taking the last name, we are taking this last name from our forefathers, right? We are taking this name our surname from the forefathers, our past, right? And so in this way, the same this is also known as the binomial nomenclature. My binomial nomenclature is used to identify each organism. Accordingly, a scientific name has been assigned to each organism. It consists of two parts. The first part is genus and the second part is species. Already told you that what basis the binomial nomenclature is done. Mainly to write the scientific name. Okay, it's not the whole binomial nomenclature, because under the binomial nomenclature different things comes, which kingdom, which species, which genus, which family. So a number of things comes under the binomial nomenclature, like when somebody is making kundli, so different types of data is recorded there, from which family, from what is their history, right? So binomial nomenclature is whole history, while keep their scientific name, that is called kundli name, we will require genus and species only. Okay, so binomial name, as per the guidelines, International Code of Nomenclature, it is considered as the international code of the nomenclature. All the organism of a species are so similar that irrespective differences in the color, height, and habitats and habits, they can reproduce among themselves and form new individuals like themselves only. For example, all domestic cats in the world belong to the same species. As I already told you, might be they will later on adapt new things like new color or new habitats or new height due to some changing done by us for like grafting or something else. But what happens, and the species will be remain same all the time when there is a new production. Okay, the same is true in the case of animals like hen, cow, dog, etc., and plants like mango, wheat, maize. So what happens, whatever experiment we do with these plants to get a hybrid seeds, but actually what happens, species are will be the remain the same. Okay, now, there are some advantages of using scientific name for organism. Actually, why it has been given, and what is the advantages of this process? The scientific name remains the same worldwide, and hence is easily recognizable. Because if the doctor doesn't know from what is the history of you, they are not able to get actually what is the problem, why from where the problem is coming. Like for example, when we go to the doctor, we say that yes, my grandfather already having sugar, so might be doctor like advise us to check for the first of all sugar, right? So in the same way, if we already know what is the binomial nomenclature of that particular species, we can easily and come to know about the whole history. The possibility of confusion due to multiple names given to the same organism in different parts of the world is eliminated by scientifically naming the organism. We already discussed this point, that actually what how the confusion occurs if for example, if they are from the same species, but they are having a different function. So in that case, might be genus will change. Okay, a relationship between the different species of an organism in a particular genus can be deduced by the scientific names. Okay, we can also relate something like from new products and old products, we can we can make a relation between them, like their species will be same, might be their genus will be changed or something, family will be changed, but their species will be same, so we can make some relation between the old products and the new products. It also helps in recognizing or identifying any new organism, and it also helps in recognizing their forefathers, like yes, oh okay, so the new product is having this species and this, and another product I am having with the same species. So in that case what happens, we are easily able to get their forefathers record also, right? So it also helps in recognizing or identifying any new organism. Yes, because whenever we get a new organism, we find, oh, and this particular organism is of this species. Okay, so I already know about this species, so we can easily understand that particular organism. Any incorrect name to the particular organism can be corrected. The scientific names provided are often descriptive and also indicate some important characteristics of organism. As I already told you, that scientific names is not enough with okay, we know the genus and the species, but when we will go to the binomial nomenclature, by the help of that genus and species, we can derive all the criteria of binomial nomenclature, and we are easily get the history of that particular organism. Okay, so a few examples have been given in your book also. You can see that for dog, what is the binomial name is Canis, scientific name you can say Canis lupus familiaris. Okay, and you will see, when you will see the whole binomial nomenclature later on. Okay, so you will there, from there you will come to know that Canis is a genus and lupus is the species. Okay, for example, cow, Bos taurus, Bos is a genus, and well, taurus will be the species of the cow. Hibiscus rosa sinensis is the full name of this, where rosa is a genus, while sinensis is the species of that particular. Juar, sorghum bicolor. So always remember, the first name is genus and second name is species. Few examples more I have given here also: sunflower, helianthus anus, mango magnifera indica, very important. Usually asked the scientific name of mango, that is Magnifera indica. Dog, Canis lupus, housefly, Musca domestica, and tiger, Panthera tigris. So these all are the scientific name. Later on, might be you are required to learn the scientific name of different types of organism, but for now just know the few examples for this. Okay, the first word is genus and the second is species. Scientists name animals and plants using the system that describes the genus and species of the organism. Scientists use two name system called that's why it is known as the binomial, because it is using two particular things, that is genus and species. That's why it is known as binomial. Now, and at the last of the video, you will see a few lines I have given here. The World Frog Protection Day is observed on 29th April. It is just for information that World Frog Protection Day is also there to protect the frog. This is for creating awareness about the conservation of frog. According to Wildlife Protection Act, killing or harming frog is prohibited. Okay, like most of the animals are there now in endangered condition, so we need to protect them. And in this way, the frog is also in nearby future become going to become an endangered animal. So protect that, and there is we used to celebrate World Frog Protection Day on 29th of April. So now we are done with the chapter. From next class we will go with the question and answer. Till the time, keep revising all the points, and whatever, if you are having any problem, you can ask me in a WhatsApp group also. And so keep revising, and from the next class we will do the question and answer. Thank you, bye bye.